Jack and Bruce back here answering your questions from Bruce's Facebook page. Christian Stoa asks, how can you best explain the free market to someone that believes that means a free-for-all and no regulation means corporate takeover of everything? Wow, interesting.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And there's a big misconception that people think that free markets means corporations are going to take over everything. And that's not true. What happens when you have really powerful corporations, and especially throughout history where you have really powerful and evil corporations, almost every single case they're going to be hand in hand with the government, backed up by the government. When you had the Pullman strike and you had companies that would basically have U.S. Marshals and federal agents beat down strikers, that's partnership with government. So if you see these big kind of companies, it's usually because of protectionist policies. If a company gets too big in a free market, new competition comes along and unseats them. So in a really free market, the more free the market, the easier it is for competition, which is a big drawback for big, slower moving companies. So you really would have a lot less corporatism and huge corporations and corporate abuses than we see now in our country, which is a corporatism-driven, crony special interests, crony capitalism kind of system. So you have these huge companies, which most people who complain about companies complain about the same kind of usual suspects.
Yeah.
You show me the top 20 companies that people hate in America that people complain about being too large, too powerful, or evil. Take those 20 companies, and I'll show you 20 companies that have strong lobbying efforts, strong ties with government, and special favors, and are probably, in general, look at the industries, healthcare, banking, insurance, for example. What do those have in common? They're all the most heavily regulated industries. Mm-hmm. All right? It's the hardest things. You don't see a lot of people saying, "Oh my goodness, those iPad app developers are horrible." Do you have anybody complain about iPad app developers? No, because there's almost no regulation. Anybody in a garage can program an app.
Right.
You cannot go in your garage and set up a bank. I've been in financial services 20 years. I looked into a bank one time, a tiny little bank. It was a tiny fraction of the size of my investment firm. We looked at buying it. I called the bank people. They were ready to laugh. They're like, "Are you serious? You can't buy a bank." I'm like, "Why not? We have the money. The assets are tiny compared to what we have. It's a small little bank. I thought it would be a nice region, local presence when we had a local office that would, work with it." I said, no. You just can't. You have to be a bank to buy a bank, basically. I said, "Well, how hard is that?" They're like, "It's impossible. You're looking at tons of legal fees, years and years of, it's just very hard." Same with insurance. You can't insure people. So the more regulated the industry, the worse corporate abuses in these huge corporations that people complain about.
You could start your own bank, like Fenton Cooperative Savings and Loan.
No, you can't. It's really hard.
I don't have any cash on me, but if I did, I would invest in your bank.
Yeah, and I'd go to jail if I didn't comply with this many regulations.
Wow. Was that the FDIC?
FDIC, yeah, and the Fed. There's all kinds of regulatory authorities that cover banking, and now there's even more thanks to people like Senator Warren.
Wow.
And they made these laws. They have even more laws covering banking, and guess what? That makes it impossible. The guy who invented WordPress, genius, computer guy, he wrote a blog post on how he would design a new bank. He was complaining about his own bank. He said, "Here's what I would do." And I looked at it, and I kind of had to, shake my head and say, poor guy, he's naive. He has no idea. There's no way he could start a bank. He should be able to.